Hello everybody and welcome in. Today we're going to be looking at a new game for us, Red Echoes Berlin. This is just a demo at the moment, and it is based on the revolution in Berlin after World War One. Story-based game. Not really sure too much what to expect, but let's have a look at it and see what it's about. Chapter 1. Changes. Horsemen of the apocalypse, famine and massacre gallop across the world. Karl Liebknecht. Welcome to the game. Every turn, character memories will be spread across the map. Look for the orange outlined locations with an exclamation mark above them. To start the story, click on the orange outlined church. 5 weeks have passed since I last heard from Willie. I am worried sick. It's very unusual for him not to write me regular. At least a letter from his brother, Max, came through today. He told me things are still quiet on his ship out in Kiel, with the navy safely moored in the harbour as it's been for the entire war. Like every Sunday, I read the morning paper. I never used to follow the news much. After all, one can't change its outcome. But ever since both of my sons were drafted, I've been scouring the papers for any news from the front, looking for indications of their safety. But the paper's sickening glorification of violence mostly makes me miserable. At least when I started this ritual, I could drink a coffee with it, instead of the vile acorn powder that we now have. New English large-scale attack in Palestine. Offensive in Cambrai Street, Quentin. Air attack on German hospital. The Vorwärts headlines didn't exactly inspire confidence. At least Willie isn't in any of these places, I thought. There was no news from Flanders. Later that day at church, my mind was absent. Muffled prayers echoed around me. Theodor Aberbach, Wilfried Schneider, Heinrich Muller, as the priest read out the names of the members of our parish who fell at the front recently. A list that is growing longer week after week. I stared straight ahead, afraid to think about how I would feel should one day my son's name be called. Next to me, a woman started quietly sobbing. I hope the war is over soon. Maybe this year we can celebrate Christmas as a family again. I said my prayers and left. I tried to console the woman next to me. I have to make a choice. I tried to console the woman next to me. Either way, it enables Helen Schmidt. You have unlocked your first character. Here you can see their information as well as their pressure and ability. More on those later. Characters add a modifier to the district where they are present. Only one character can be present per district. Hover over the modifier's icon to see its effect. The exclamation mark icon indicates that it is a new modifier. Modifiers are always applied at the end of each turn if their conditions are met. Upon ending a turn, all district modifiers get applied first. Then state support will increase a number of districts determined by the reactionary fervor value, as shown on the button. For now, this is the only in one district. Got it? Actually, it looks like it's in two. No, it's in that. The state support, yes, it's in one. Hover over the end turn button to see the sources of reactionary fervor, as well as to see how many turns there are remaining until the end of the current chapter. Click the end turn button to end your turn. Okay, understood. So yes, that goes up by +1 turn, reactionary fervor. Lean Schmidt present. Prevents state support increase in district where she is present. Right, so they won't get any state support in Berlin Nord. Berlin West. Oh, I thought it was going to be Berlin Sud. Gerrick. Oh, there's Berlin Sud. Oh, that's the building. Got it. Berlin Sud. Berlin Ost. Berlin Center. Berlin Mitte. Or Mitte. 5 districts of Berlin. North Berlin holds working-class industrial neighborhoods such as Wedding and Prenzlauer Berg. Sprawling tenement dominate its cityscape. There is one revolutionary fervor. I assume that's what this is. Yeah, revolution control. And no state further. She will block any state increase, so that'll stay in, we say, revolution's hands. Everyone else, however, will get 1 increase. Let's end the turn. Morale is medium, supplies are 2. September 22nd, 1918. That's my menu. Enter. District locked. +1. Okay, so it's just Berlin Sud. Got +1. Smith's Zoo House. This morning, Mina came by. God, has she grown up. I have not seen her since the war started. She used to be around all the time, helping me raise my boys. We spent all morning reminiscing. When the war broke out, she left the city to live with her family in the countryside. Just a few weeks ago, she returned to Berlin. I told her about Willie and Max. Helene's son. Okay. I told her about Willie and Max. How they've been away from home for years now, fighting the fatherland's enemies. When I mentioned that Max had joined the Navy, she exclaimed, "Oh, I remember he always used to play with the little toy boats, making up elaborate stories about sailing the high seas, bringing back cocoa from the colonies and battling pirates on his way there. In a way, it must be a dream come true. That rarely happens anymore these days." I dryly replied that the high seas fleet, luckily, has not left port in years due to the blockade. No longer having access to chocolate or coffee, for that matter, was a small price to pay for knowing that my son was safe. What about Willie? In Flanders, I haven't received a letter from him in weeks now. You must be so worried. You know what? I work for the postal service at the Kaiserlich Postberamt these days. If you want, I can inquire. With the Entente's offenses, mail delivery from the front is in complete disarray. Pass by tomorrow and I'll see what I can do. As Mina left, I gazed out of the window, observing the Imperial flag attached to the building opposite mine gently waving in the breeze. Cursed it for bringing so much pain. I don't know really what's going on, but I've got full-blown revolutionary here. Your decision just changed the power balance in Berlin Nord. If a district's revolutionary support is higher than its state support, you control it. Here you can also see which character is present and what progress has been made towards the next district's memory. District memories occur when either side's base support level reaches the thresholds indicated by the progress bars, so 5 on each. Looks like standard. For information on a district, click on it to open its information panel. Like I said, looks like 1 on each. For instance, here you go. Eastern Berlin is home to a large number of textile, food, and machinery factories. Its freight railway stations and Osthafen form the economic backbone of the city. It's under revolutionary control. However, if we go to the center, it's under state control. There are no modifiers at all. I assume this one has, yes. Then Schmidt as modifier. Actually, from story progress 1. Locked. One turned up in Berlin West. Kaiserliches Ostberamt. Post office. The next morning, as Mina suggested, I went to the Kaiserlich Ostberamt. It was a bright sunny day with the birds happily chirping away, yet I couldn't enjoy it. It won't be around for much longer, I thought, as the first colours of autumn had already started to appear. When I arrived, Mina enthusiastically greeted me at the entrance. She had found an undelivered letter from Willie, dated September 21st, just over a week ago. My hands trembled as I opened the quite hefty envelope. Dearest Mum, apologies for not writing these last few weeks. The arrival of the Americans has seen us pushed back, and the fighting left me too exhausted to send letters. I don't want you to worry, though. Reinforcements are coming from the east and will surely turn the tide. Currently, I am on short-term leave, spending it at a tavern in Ghent. It's only for a few days, and I almost missed the sound of the artillery overhead. But the city is really beautiful, straight out of one of those fairy tales you used to read me. I promise to take you here when the war is over, drive you around in a boat on one of its many magical waterways. And while the beer and food here is better than anything we have access to in the trenches, cigarettes are severely lacking. I heard they are still available in the fatherland. Could you perhaps send me some? Big hug, your Willie. P.S. I have included some local sweets, which they comically call little noses here. Only a drunk's nose has this color. Inside the envelope were 3 conically shaped, bright purple sweets. As I bit down on one and savored its raspberry flavor, I felt some of the worry of the past few weeks slip off my shoulders. With my reply, I sent him several fine cigars. Your decision has affected your resource supplies. It can be used to make certain decisions and use character abilities. Morale comes in 3 levels, with progress towards the next level indicated by the progress bar beneath it. Having high morale multiplies all revolutionary support values by 1.5, while having low morale halves them. Pretty simple. Lovely red dot here. Alright, who gets their state support next turn? Oh, back to Central. Or, I remember, Berlin Mitte. Zeitungsviertel. South Berlin consists of Tempelhofer Vorstadt and Friedrichstadt, the latter hosting ministries in the banking sector. A rich commercial and nightlife presence characterizes this district. Vogel! A booming voice echoed through the office. God, what does he want now? I whispered, rolling my eyes at Jutta, the colleague with whom I was just having a lovely morning catch-up talk. Yes, Mr. Stamper. I turned to the man walking his way towards my desk. He was in his mid-40s, a small, thin mustache adorning his face. Friedrich Stamper, editor-in-chief of the Vorwärts newspaper. You've been assigned to write up today's frontline report. I expect it on my desk for review in 6 hours. Here is the Army's official communication, he said as he handed me a thin folder. You got it, boss, I sighed. It wasn't the first time that I was tasked with writing this report. I used to even enjoy it, as a way to write away my anger at the war, to criticize those responsible. After all, that's why I took this job. Yet 2 years ago, the editorial line shifted. As the SPD's leadership got tired of its newspaper criticizing the official party line, Mr. Stamper was brought in. From then on, we just had to parrot the official army reports we received. The files contained nothing new. The Imperial Army is losing ground, but supposedly it's merely a tactical retreat, similar to last year's masterful withdrawal to the Hindenburg line, except that there is no more fallback line, and the retreat has been going on for months now. As I read through the files, I felt something snap within me. I couldn't care less about the report's claim that our forces destroyed a large number of armored vehicles. I was fed up with repeating the same lies over and over again, telling a narrative of a war going well, while millions had already lost their lives. Thus I decided to adopt a sarcastic tone for today's article. Another masterful gambit by the Emperor. 10,000 German captured as Belgians advanced 29 kilometers. Needless to say, Stamper wasn't amused. When I presented the draft, he demanded a full rewrite. His words. Here's some advice. Keep your personal opinions to yourself. You won't leave this office until it's done. When the clock struck midnight, a new version was done, fully aware that it had to go out for print in a few hours. I kept most of the sarcasm intact. I attempt to get an extra supply. No, I won't. I'll push forward. The revolutionaries. Revolutionary support is higher than state support, increases morale on turn end. Okay. Not quite there yet, though. And in Berlin Ost. I was deeply lost in the pages of Grimm's fairy tales when the harsh sound of the doorbell took me back to reality. Annoyed, I made a mental note of the story I was on, Godfather Death, before I put down the old, dusty book that once belonged to my late aunt. As I opened the door, I saw Mina standing there, her face white as snow, eyes faintly red. In her hands, she held an envelope. With a trembling voice, she said, "Hi, could I please come in?" I felt my heart sink. After we sat down on the emerald-colored sofa, she handed me the letter. This telegram came in today at the post office. It was supposed to be forwarded to you, but I thought it'd be best to deliver it in person. It read, "Dear Miss Smith, we are saddened to inform you that your son, Willie Smith, has died a hero's death in service of the fatherland. He passed away without suffering." I doubted that last sentence. The world turned black before my eyes. When I woke up, I didn't recognize where I was. The warm wooden interior of my flat had been replaced by cold, sterile walls. Next to me was Mina, who looked exhausted. "You passed out," she said. "I called a doctor, and an ambulance took you to the hospital just in case. The nurse wants to keep you overnight, and I'm really sorry for what happened, Helen. Willie was a good kid. He didn't deserve to go like that." I will thank Mina for letting me know, because that's, I think, the best thing to do anyway. Of course, you know, I don't really overly know the grand effects of morale and support and stuff. We'll lose a bit of morale, but I think it's okay. I think we'll still be in medium. Each chapter you were presented with a set of goals. Achieving these goals yields powerful bonuses in the next chapter. It affects the outcome of the story. Goals must be completed in order, with the next goal only becoming available after achieving the previous one. Hover your mouse anywhere over the interface to see the exact goal descriptions. Control 3 districts. Lead in Berlin Mitte. Trigger 3 district memories. Right. We've got 2 districts. To get the lead in Berlin Mitte would be interesting. 3 districts could be possible with Berlin Mitte, and I have to trigger 3 district memories. I assume that might just happen in this intro, because I assume I might get more characters. Character ability not yet unlocked. Wait, what? Surely that's unlocked. I get his might not be, because he... Revolutionary... Sorry, her ability might not be, because revolutionary support needs to be higher than state support. Anyway. What the help is it? Get a double bonus to revolutionary support. Sightings Vettel. I glanced at the faces of those present in the room. Meetings with the entire journalistic team were highly unusual, especially ones called on such short notice as today's, and usually they don't start late. When Stamfer entered, everyone fell silent. He paced back and forth for a brief moment, then proceeded to speak. "The new Chancellor is pressing for peace. A letter has been sent to Woodrow Wilson, the President of the United States. The government wants us to report on this, ready to admit that it's losing the war." An audible silence fell over the room. Glancing at me, the editor-in-chief continued. "I know a variety of opinions on the war exist within this room, but for now, it's vital we help maintain order in this country while the negotiations occur. We will be reporting factually on the peace process. And the editorial line will continue to support SPD and thus government policy. Whatever may be decided. And now, back to work." As I was about to leave the room and head back to my desk, I heard Stamper say, "Vogel, a word please. I want you to go to Anhalter Bahnhof today," the large railway station. "A large transport of dismissed soldiers is returning from the Western Front. I'd like you to get some testimonies from the returning soldiers on the rumored peace process." "Is there a catch? It's unlike you to send me to do field work," I replied. "No catch, but no guarantee any of this will get published. I'm in close contact with the parties so we can continue to set the narrative. Oh, and," he reached into his pocket, pulling out a stack of banknotes. "Here, something to get people talking. Ask the hard questions. I know you are good at that." As I walked towards the station, I... +1 pressure. Interesting. Morale increases. We'll go for the revolutionary support. Your decision has increased Martha's pressure. When a character's pressure bar becomes full, their ability is disabled for 3 turns, or until it reaches 0 again. Pressure can be reduced by certain decisions or by using Helen's ability. Okay, interesting. So hang on. It says character ability not yet unlocked. So that's just her modifier, right? Just like the other one was Martha's modifier. What is this ability? I mean, decreases pressure, I would have to guess. Just because that one's pretty obvious. But, like, what's this one? Character ability not yet unlocked. Well, I'm guessing maybe it's too early in the demo and I'm being impatient. That could be possible. Well, let's go to Anhalter Bahnhof. Max is coming home today. Presumably, he has heard about Willie, given that he has been recalled from service due to being the only man left in his household. As I took the tram towards the train station, where Max's train would be arriving, I felt empty. I wanted to rejoice at seeing my son again, and yet, I could only think about the horrific circumstances that led to our reunion. I stared out of the window and watched the city go by. Lost in thought, I almost missed my stop, but it was hard to overlook the grand Anhalter Bahnhof, looming over the city, its curved roof casting a long shadow over the small square in front of it. Military trucks were lined up by the entrance, with soldiers swarming around the doors, some leaving, others returning. I walked through the large entrance, briefly glancing up at the 2 statues representing day and night adorning the facade. As the entry gave way to the train hall, a cloud of steam turned my vision foggy. My senses were attacked by the sounds, the smells of bustling train terminal. Between the constant announcements, whistling locomotives, and the occasional cry of a mother seeing her sons depart, I struggled to locate where Max's train would arrive. But eventually, I heard the intercom ring out. Military personnel transport, origin, Kiel, Hamburg, arriving track 3. Train pulled into the station, followed by a billowing cloud of smoke. I patiently waited, trying to spot my son among the hundreds of men of all ages exiting the train, all wearing the same white sailor's uniform. Eventually I saw him. We looked at each other, tears welling up in both of our eyes. I pulled him into a tight hug that felt like an eternity. Exiting the station proved to be more difficult than entering it. A large troop transport, originating from Saarbrücken, near the Western Front, had just arrived. I stared at the soldiers leaving it, many with bandages around their heads, perhaps even more with missing limbs. And then, among the crowd, I saw young women wearing a striking red beret, long brown hair falling down around her face. She glanced up from her notebook and confidently walked up to Max and myself. Excuse me for my directness, but I am a journalist, looking for testimonies from those who have lost someone in this horrific war, she said, glancing over at my Max. And I take it this young man hasn't simply been sent on leave. Leave us alone, I bluntly replied. I will, but please, consider it. Here, call me if you feel ready to talk. She handed me a card and left. It read, Martha Vogel, journalist of Vorwärts, phone 8643. Found a phone booth and called the number. The reason I did that was for revolutionary support, so now increases morale on turn end, so I will get the morale anyway, hopefully. Let's go ahead and end turn. Morale increases. Locked. Yes, +1 for the center. Control 3 districts. So that, and now I have to attempt to lead in Berlin Mitte, which I know you're still in the south, but you're in center. I might be able to put some impact there. I assume they're all going to be probably quite available. I mean, this is a demo and this is chapter 1. You know, we're easing our way into the game here, and so I would expect things to be pretty available. You know. Let's start in Ost. In fact, Osthafen. Emil Zima. Emil, give me a hand, will you? I quickly ran over to Bird, today's shift leader, and took hold of the large sack of grain he was struggling to lift. On the count of 3. 1, 2. Together we hoisted the heavy bag onto the small cart. As he passed the bag, he said, "Now, if you don't mind, bring this to the boys at the train yard. Break time after." With considerable effort, I pushed the cart down the cobbled road. It was the last task of the first shift. 6 hours of back-breaking labor. After making the delivery, I went to the canteen. Here I joined Byrne at his table. A bowl of bland but warm vegetable soup and a large, slightly stale piece of dark bread in front of me. Worker at Ostafn, father of 2. Soon after, Franz, a young, scruffy boy who couldn't be older than 18, joined us. "Have you heard? The shipping volume is down again from last week. With the talk of peace, less weapons have to leave through the harbor," he said. "Maybe that finally means shorter working hours." "Don't dream too much, Franz," Byrne replied. "Besides, I need the pay, got kids to feed." I didn't say a word. Instead, letting out a short groan, I adjusted my seating position. My back hurt. Byrne shot me a concerned look. "Not much hauling left today." Emily, Emil? I want to say Emily. Emil, I'm going to go for. "I'll let you do the inventory this afternoon." Laughter rose from the table next to us. "Letting the pole off the hook again, are we, Byrne?" Byrne's eyes shot daggers in their direction. "Let them be, it ain't worth it," I said to him as I stood up, ready for my second 6-hour shift. Enables +1 supply. I'm going to do that. I made it through the full shift. I'm going to stand strong. And so modifiers. State support is higher than revolutionary support. Reduce state support by 1 on turn end. Get you moved. In fact, can I move? No, it doesn't look like it. Because I would love to have you in center to start moving down that state control, if I'm honest. Anyway. Alright, now let's go back to... Oh, we're in Hellendown South. I was nervous when I sat down at the quaint cafe on Bell Alliance Platz. Across from me sat Miss Vogel, the journalist I'd met 2 days before, in Anhalter Bahnhof. "Tea, Miss Schmitz?" I asked. She asked. I nodded. As she poured us both a cup of fragrant mint tea, she continued. "You can call me Martha. I want to start by saying that I'm truly sorry for your loss, and I want to apologize if any of my questions are hurtful. I think it's really important stories like yours are heard, as only once the wider public turns against the war will the killing stop for good." I'm not quite sure what that background noise is supposed to be. Sounds a little bit like a train with the rhythm, but the sound's not quite right. I don't know. Anyway, naturally your name will be kept anonymous. Could you tell me about your sons, where they both served and what they experienced? I started telling the journalist the entire story of my past few years. How my twins voluntarily signed up 2 years ago when they turned 18. How, since then, I've only seen them once or twice, but regularly heard from them through letters, in which they told me of life at the front, or in Max's case, at the harbor. While I was telling my story, Martha was diligently taking notes, letting me talk without interruption. It felt good to be heard. When I got to Willie's death, and the uncertainty of the last few weeks, I felt tears well up in my eyes, but I pushed through. Martha handed me an embroidered cotton handkerchief, and looked at me inquisitively. "Who do you think's to blame for your son's death?" I fell quiet. After some consideration, I replied. An instrument's ability becomes available, but I'm going to take revolutionary support as well. You have Helen Smith's unique ability. Each character ability can be used once per turn, and some require supplies to use. Click the ability button to use Helen's ability and continue to the tutorial. Reduce pressure. And then the question is on who? Be used to reduce a character's pressure. To do so, select the character by clicking on their portrait on the map. I'm going to reduce your pressure. Now using plus minus to decrease the character's pressure. Each pressure removed costs 1 supply. Oh. You can only select a different character by clicking on the character portrait, or deselect the character by clicking on the selected portrait again. Keep in mind you can only use this ability once per turn. Press the button at the top of the screen to confirm your choice. I'm not going to reduce for now. Right, let's look at Con English's Glosh. Glosh. Gloss. Horrible pronunciation, I imagine. Helen Schmidt, the woman I approached at Anhalt Bonhoff, has agreed to give an interview. I still wonder if it was the right move, bluntly approaching her and asking her to talk about her dead son. It was invasive, yet yielded results. Now I have to prepare for it. Truth be told, I have no idea how to approach this. While I've had to ask difficult questions during my time as a journalist, nothing has prepared me to talk to someone in so much pain. I glanced at my watch. It was time to go. As I was due to meet Helene at noon, as I turned the corner, I saw Koniglic's Schloss rise up in front of me. Kaiser might be far away from Berlin, but his palace stood still over the city, serving as the heart of the empire, instilling authority in its subjects. I wondered if I would ever see it stop beating. As I boarded the tram on my way to the interview, I felt... I will remove the pressure. Heart of the Empire, while state support is higher than revolutionary support, reactionary fervor is increased by 1. Okay. With that set of stories, it would have been good if I had to do Martha's before Helene, because her story was her going to meet Helene, and then Helene's was her meeting her. So chronologically, that felt a bit weird doing it backwards, if I'm being honest. Turns remaining 5. Well, then on that point, ladies and gentlemen, we're halfway through the opening chapter. We're going to leave the episode there. So, as you can see, a story-based game based in Berlin. We're only just starting to see kind of what it's all about, and the things happening. It'll be interesting to see how many characters we get. It'll be interesting to see eventually what their character abilities are. That's going to be fairly interesting. And then obviously we will potentially get more modifiers from all the different districts as time goes on. So 5 districts, I'm going to guess, for increased revolutionary support, keep supplies, keep morale, etc., because they have an effect. And I'm sure there will be more as the game continues to develop and gets closer to full release. Like I said, for now, that is all we're going to look at for this game. We will be back to see if we can at least finish Chapter 1. I don't know how long the demo goes, but we will at least see if we can finish Chapter 1. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, as per always, I hope you can stay safe, happy, and healthy.